Good afternoon, and then welcome to the Tangi Migration Management Center of the Gambia Immigration Department here in Tangi. We're here to engage media houses on the recent activities of the department when it comes to migration interceptions from the month of October to November 3rd. This briefing, it's a consolidation of the operations that we have had over the past month, which also includes the investigation, smuggling cases, and also few engagements where we had to repatriate some migrants to various countries. Now, the operations were conducted by the GID's Migration Management Unit through its efforts with the Border Patrol Unit, and then partners that we've also been working with over the course of this year. Operations come in different folds, in different locations, and also with different varieties. In this briefing, I will briefly give you an insight of each of these particular cases, and then give you an overall number of how much we were able to intercept from the course of January down to November. Our first migration case that we had intercepted occurred in Bara on the 2nd of October 2025. The North Bank Border Patrol Unit intercepted 39 would-be migrants, which includes 34 Gambians and 5 Senegalese, including 4 female and 1 pregnant woman. The migrants that were intercepted were preparing to move to Mboletba, to be transported to Bara, and later they came back to Tangi. This migration route was disrupted by the Border Patrol Unit of North Bank region, and then the migrants were transported back to Tangi here at the base. We had, in our findings, we've also been able to find out that the witnesses were not opportune to be seen by most of these migrants, because payments were mostly sent by their family members abroad, and this also includes a woman who was 8 months pregnant with 2 weeks pregnancy. So we also had a similar case in Bara, which occurred on the 6th of October 2025 at the Bara Ferry Terminal. In this case, we had 6 migrants that were intercepted, and this included 5 Senegalese and 1 Gambian. They've been moving to the Gambia in an effort to also join a migration route that was being organized. The migrants had confessed that they were instructed to meet a contact in the Gambia, where they will be given their boarding to a particular boat for movements. The GID had also had a vehicle interception done by the Tangi, Gunjur, and Katong immigration stations, their border patrol units, and this vehicle was engaged in smuggling fuel that is to be used for migration routes. Now, in a vehicle number plate BJL 8045X with fuel, we had items of 52 gallons of 30 liters fuel that was captured there. We also had the 40 of 20 liters gallon that was also captured, and the 26 of 60 liter gallon. And then we also have 200 liter barrels that were also intercepted by the officers. We've also been informed that the suspect in this case, which is Wuye Sane and Sheikh Aidara, were paid an amount of 40,000 onwards by the migrants that were involved in this particular case. Now, this was a disruption case, as the migrants were not met up with the vehicle, but they contained items that are being used for this particular routine that we had to intercept along the way. We also had in our findings on the 7th of October 2025 that 34 migrants were also intercepted by the PIU and the police general duty officers. And these migrants were later handed over to the GID for necessary investigation and processing. Now, these migrants were recruited by a man called Paul, Musa, and also Bubakar, suspected organizers. And the boat departed from Chare in Senegal and then came into the Gambia for a transit purpose. The Navy had also intervened, and then after this we realized that 300 migrants were supposed to be in this particular boat to move into the Gambia and then transit to the Canary Islands. Further interceptions also occurred on the 10th of October 2025 in Joswang, where we have 5 migrants. You might be seeing the numbers in bits and pieces because we are now more focused on prevention than stopping them at the latter part. So our engagements focus is more on trying to disrupt their activities as they're trying to gather into one place, and that is why the numbers will come in bits and pieces. Unlike before, where we would have them all at a particular place and we had to intercept them. So now we want to focus more on preventive mechanisms to avoid them being together and expose us to other activities within the Gambia. So on October 10th, migrants were returning home after a failed attempt, but then no payments were made, and then they were intercepted by the immigration officers in Joswang as well. We had another case on the 13th of October 2025 in Mahmuda, where 7 migrants plus 1 Pakistani national were also intercepted. These migrants were recruited by a man called Matar, and each of them paid about 55,000 CFA. The Pakistani national was also confirmed to be a legitimate businessman in the Gambia, but then also wanted to use the irregular migration route as a mechanism to travel out of the country. In similar cases, we had an interception in Tanje on the 19th of October 2025. In this case, migrants were recruited in Senegal and payments were made via Wave to a man called Bamba, who is an agent currently staying in Spain, not in the Gambia here. Now, the organizers Bamba and Baifal were revealed by the migrants during our investigations, and then they were all at large as we speak, as Bamba currently stays in Spain, not within the Gambia. Following that case, we also had a different case that took place in Batokunku, where we had 25 migrants that were intercepted. Now, this occurred on the 20th of October 2025. The suspects in this case included Wue Sane, who was involved, and then engines of 60 horsepower and 40 horsepower were also intercepted in this particular case, and the fuels were seized, currently with us at the center here in Tangier. In a similar case, the same Batokunku, we had a different case on the same very day, 20th of October 2025. And in this case, Wue was arrested, items were seized, including the engine, the pumping machine, the fuel, the motorbikes were all intercepted during the course of this particular engagement. And after the investigation, they've been recommended for prosecution efforts to be able to deter such practices within the Gambia. Now, on the 22nd of October 2025, we have a case that was a bit different. These are not migrants that were intercepted, but then they are returnees from Nigeria. We had initially sent a release on this part, where we had our officers travel all the way to Mauritania in partnership with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the SIS were also involved. They had to travel all the way to Mauritania and bring about 40 migrants that were stranded in Mauritania. Accounts from these migrants had also revealed that they had undergone serious human rights violations and also suppressions by the authorities in Mauritania. On a good note, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, through its embassy in Mauritania, was able to engage swiftly and arrange for them to be returned back to the Gambia, which our officers, Commandant Sedikan to here, together with officers from Foreign Affairs, were able to travel down to Mauritania in the Rosa border and transport those migrants back to the country. In that case, we realized that the boat that transported them to Mauritania left the Gambia with an amount of 190 to 200 migrants. But then at our level, we were only able to return 40 migrants in this case, as the other ones left before the team was able to reach Mauritania. On a separate interception case where we had 47 Guineans at Madiana Salaji, it occurred on the 22nd of October 2025. The suspect identified in this case included Mamadou Seka, who was the one harboring the migrants in a compound. We also had a Senegalese-based organizer, Pape Aliou Mustafa, and also Fode, who are also suspected as organizers of this particular case, and this case took place in Salaji, where they've been harbored. Separately, we also had another case in Bara, which occurred on the 26th of October 2025, where 28 migrants were also intercepted by the NBR Border Patrol Unit. Now, these individuals were intercepted during the course of our routine checks, where we have our officers going around to check coastal belts and areas where we may have susceptible people to be engaged into migration route. They were suspected to have departed from a village called Jinak in the North Bank region, and the migrants were taken to Tangi for further investigations. On the 25th of October 2025, we had also 34 migrants plus a boat and an engine intercepted at a village called Kubune on the 25th of October 2025. Now, the boat, engine, and the 200 gallons of fuel were all recovered, and the agent who was found in this particular case is Mr. Cherno Usman Sow, who is currently at large as we report this particular case. A similar case occurred in Bara, where we had 30 migrants were intercepted on the 25th of October 2025, same day with that of Kubune. In this case, again, we had two organizers, Modunjai and also Ismaila, were found to be in this case. And they have collected payments from migrants in various ways. Some of them paid through CFA, others paid in Gambian dollars. Reason being why we have difference in currencies, because most migrants come in different countries. Some of them are from Senegal, others will be from the Gambia, some are from Guinea. And these countries have different currency notes. So as a result, migrants would pay in different notes based on the countries where they reside. And then Bara also had a different case the following day on the 26th of October 2025, where we had 29 migrants that were intercepted. And the suspected agents in this particular case includes Mr. Yoro, Abdullah, and also Musa. In this interception, food items were also recovered, And then there had been some claims that have been alleged by the migrants that there were some officers that were involved in this particular case. We would want to disclose which particular unit was this, but then there had been allegations made that they had conspired with few people that engage in this particular act. So as we speak, we're also making efforts to engage with those people and see how we can mitigate some of those practices. We also had another smuggling case where we have arrested a man called Adam Khan on the 1st of November 2025. Now Adam Khan, together with Ali Job, was suspected to have prepared for a boat departure in a village called Sami. Payments were also made in CFA and Gambian dollars. And this case, they were supposed to have about 240 migrants to be departed from the Gambia to the Canary Islands in this particular case. Moving forward, we have another major interception that took place on the 2nd of November 2025, where we have 82 migrants in Batakunku again. And the suspects in this case included a man called Abdi Juft and also Mr. Ibrahim Anjay. This particular case came in various formats because we have been receiving many migrants over the past months. But then with this particular case, we have seen them prepared with their radio sets to be able to facilitate communications while they are moving. And also, the man was also alleged to have been having a particular, who was armed at some point, and we have him currently in custody here. So as we speak, we have 3 suspected organizers of irregular migration route that are currently in custody in Tangier here, and their cases will be taken for prosecution. The man that was claimed to have been armed will be handed over to the Gambia Police Force, as it is their mandate to decide whether the arm being used was genuine or not, and what exactly could have been charges of criminal offenses made by those particular individuals. At the level of GID, we've already finished our investigations to confirm how they were able to recruit the migrants and also harbor them in a particular place. And at this point, we'll hand over the case to the Gambia Police Force for necessary actions. And then, looking at all these particular numbers we've discussed, they all occurred within the course of October, coming down to the 2nd of November 2025. Now, by aggregation, I will give you an accumulative number of what we're able to intercept over the course of this past month. Now, from January coming down to November 2nd, when we put all our interceptions together, we were able to have an interception of 535 Gambians within these interceptions. 921 Senegalese were found within these interceptions. 485 of them were also found to be Guineans, and we have 100 of them that fall under other nationalities within the Gambia. Among them also we had 21 pregnant women that were also taking this migration route to travel from the Gambia into the Canary Islands. We've also had, in different cases, close to 70 minors that are children below the age of 18 that were also involved in most of these migration cases. Now, overall, if we look at the gender aggregation, we realize that out of the number that we have intercepted, which included 2,041 migrants over the course of this year from January down to November today, GID was able to intercept 2,041 migrants that were taking the migration route within the country. Some of them used the country as a transit point. Others who are recruited within the Gambia here to also undertake this particular journey. And out of this number, 1,693 are male, 348 of them are female, 77 of them are minors, and 21 of them are pregnant women found in this particular case. Now, as we continue our efforts, we are now in the month of November going down to December, and we've also realized that it is a peak period where most migrants are also trying to leverage upon to travel out of this country. The GID, as we speak, is focused more on disrupting these movements than waiting until they board the vehicles to travel out of the country. And as a result, most of our engagements over the past months are fueled at the very beginning when they try to recruit them together, or they have been harbored in a particular compound, or they're trying to move from one place to a different place to be able to meet up with the organizers. We want to again recommit ourselves to engaging with the communities, receiving intelligence from most of these people, as most of our efforts are intelligence-based. We are not able to be in every corner, every nook and cranny of this country. So it is only people that can also give us information that we can work upon to make these interceptions. If you have also been following the media, there have been reports of many missing boats within the seas. And most of these are claimed to have traveled out of the country, going down to Senegal and into Mauritania. While we are not able to verify their departure points at this point, we also want to see it as an alarm that with all these things we have achieved, there are still boats moving. And most of these movements are known by Gambian citizens in communities, in compounds, and coastal belts. It becomes their duty to be able to communicate with the GID staff and engage us in the earliest possible time so we can also intercept most of these cases. We also want to appreciate the work of the Border Patrol Unit and the Migration Management Unit of GID over the course of this month. When we are sleeping at our comfort zones, even at night, they're always available, making sure that migration routes are foiled at the very beginning. We also want to express our gratitude to the GID Command, who have also been there to boost up the morale of the staff and also promote their engagement into this irregular migration route. The GID is not against migration, as it is a right upon every citizen, upon every person within a country. But we stand firm, sternly, to fight against irregular migration route because it compromises our border engagement efforts. It is against our Immigration Act for you to travel without regularized entry points of this particular country. And as a result, we want to advocate for safe, orderly, and regular migration route. So if there are claims that we are more focused on intercepting them, we want to save lives and also protect the Gambia's integrity and border management efforts. Thus, we call upon everybody to support the GID in its effort towards this particular activity.